The April 16th, 1998 tornado outbreak was an historic outbreak of at least 13 tornadoes that struck Middle Tennessee on April 16th, 1998. Many of these tornadoes were strong, violent, and long-track tornadoes, killing 4 people and injuring nearly 100. And we're going to be talking about all of the tornadoes that happened in a short analysis. This is a picture of all the tornadoes that happened during the outbreak. Pause if you need to, and let's move on. The first tornado of the outbreak would touchdown at 6:05 a.m. It was an F3 tornado with a path length of 2 miles and the width of 130 yards. There were 0 fatalities, 5 injuries during this tornado. The tornado destroyed 35 homes and 7 mobile homes, uprooted trees, and demolished cars along a 2-mile path on Nails Creek Road. The next tornado of the day would touch down about 3 hours later. It was an F3 rating. It would touch down just east of Clarksville, northern part of Tennessee. Many trees and power lines were blown down at Port Royal and Sanderville Road. Homes were damaged. An ATVA transmission line tower fell, which whenever one of those fall, that is EF3 damage. There was F3 rating, like I said, 12.5 mile path length. There was 1,300 yards, 0 fatalities, 0 injuries. The next tornado of the day would be an F0 tornado that would touch down at 10:09 a.m. It was a very short-lived tornado, 0 fatalities, 0 injuries, and $0 in damage done. The only stuff of this tornado ever being on the ground was a storm spotter reported the tornado on I-40 between the mile markers 145 and 146. The next tornado of the day would touch down exactly 1 hour after the last tornado. It was a F2 tornado that its path was 3 miles long. It was 800 yards wide, 0 fatalities, 0 injuries. Many trees and power lines were blown down. A roof was damaged to a house, and also a barn on White Springs Road White Springs Road was damaged from a large tree branches. The next tornado of the day would be an F0 that touched down at 2:14 p.m. It was very short-lived, only 100 yards wide, 0 fatalities, and 0 injuries. This was just the beginning of the outbreak. What would come next is something unbelievable. And this was an F3 tornado that would go right through Nashville, Tennessee, killing 1, injuring 60, and doing $100 million in damage. Its path length was 28 miles long, and it was 1,320 yards wide. This tornado would touch down at 2:26 p.m. There's just so much to know about this tornado, on how many businesses, homes, and all that it destroyed. The National Weather Service, if it would have happened today, would have most likely been an EF2, not an F3. It damaged so much, picking up trees over 200 years old, $100 million of damage. It was absolutely insane. This is a video of the tornado going through downtown Nashville. As you can see, there is some power flashes, and it was just very, very strong tornado. The next tornado would be an F1 tornado that would touch down at 3:05 p.m. Its path length was 16 miles. Its width was 200 yards, 0 fatalities, 0 injuries. Trees were blown down in rural areas. At first, this tornado was believed to be associated with the EF3 that would go through downtown Nashville, but by radar indicate it is obviously another supercell that was just east of it. The next tornado of the day would be a very strong F4 tornado that would touch down at 3:50 p.m. It was a 30-mile path length, and it was 1,760 yards wide. It had 3 fatalities, 6 injuries, and $4 million in damages. The next tornado would be a pretty short-lived F2 tornado that would touch down at 3:56, just 6 minutes after the F4. this tornado touched down near Nashville with 0 fatalities, 0 injuries, but $300 in damages. This tornado traveled just south of Lebanon Pike and did damage to homes and businesses in West Lebanon. There's an extensive animal losses. Approximately $60,000 of fencing was destroyed. It hit a farm. 20 hogs were killed. Farmers lost 26 outbuildings and 21 vehicles were damaged. The F4 tornado that just went south of Wadesboro dissipated. It recycled into an F5 monster tornado that slabbed many fine homes. Even some brick homes were completely leveled. Trees were uprooted or blown down. Power lines were down. 500 utility poles were blown down around the county. People who were at their homes went to the basement or in a closet or in a bathroom. The trees were debarked by the flying debris. A 200-yard path of pasture land had grass pulled out. Clumps of dirt was pulled from the ground. Several livestock were killed. This tornado would end up injuring 21, but 0 fatalities, and doing $4 million in damages. The next tornado would touch down in the eastern suburbs of Nashville. It was an F1 rated tornado. 0 fatalities, 0 injuries, but $100,000 in damages. Trees were blown down. There was some damages to home from fallen trees. This tornado was not as strong as the first. It started between downtown Nashville and Nashville International Airport. It continued into Wilson County. The second to last tornado of their outbreak would be an F3 tornado that would go through the northern parts of Byrdstown. It had a path length of 8.6 miles, 0 fatalities, 4 injuries, and $11 million in damages. As the F5 that damaged many homes dissipated, it recycled into another beast, an F4 tornado that would go through Lawrence, Giles, and Murray County. It touched down at 8 o'clock at an 18-mile path length, 1,320 yards wide. 0 fatalities, 9 injuries, and $5 million in damages. The most excessive damage was north of Yolke. There was downed trees and power lines, ruptured gas tank, cars overturned, and homes damaged. 5 homes and 8 mobile homes were destroyed in Giles County. The heaviest damage happened in Murray County. Was a town area with an 18-wheeler blown over. Many homes were damaged. Trees and power lines were down. Thank you, everybody, for watching this video. I'd really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers before my birthday.